Hi, my name is Steve Futral. I'm also known as Ish, which is short for Ishwara, a name I received in India. I've been painting most all my life, or at least I can remember back to age 10. I may have done things before that. And I have been a jeweler, self-taught jeweler. I tend to work with my hands. I've been a massage therapist, a cook, a painter, a sculptor, etc. So these three pieces, I work in about 4 different mediums right now. I work in watercolors, acrylics, encaustic, which is beeswax with pigment, and in sumi ink, Japanese brushstroke, which I didn't bring a sample of, or the watercolor. But this particular painting up here, all these white spaces, or what were white till I filled them in, I put a technique called frisket. Frisket is like a ground, meaning that you paint over it, and then when it's all done, you can peel off the frisket, and whatever color underneath comes out. So I did that with this, and I saw these empty spaces, and they seem to have no meaning. I mean, even from an abstract point of view, they didn't hold together. So as I looked at them, all of a sudden I saw different faces coming through, and this here was like an upside down elephant and sort of an upside down fish. And I just let it flow. These are all archival inks. And then what I tend to do with almost all my pieces is I come back with a fine line archival ink, like a brush pen, and I outline everything with that. And that, to me, tends to make it come alive. And then sometimes it drips on the side, and on this one, for example, I also outline the things that happen on the side. To me, it's part of the painting. I even did it on the back. So that's acrylic with frisket. Now, this one too, I put the frisket down. All the white that you see in this sort of a brushstroke feeling was done with frisket. And then I did the various colors and then peeled the frisket off. And then I went back with the archival ink and outlined everything. Now this one, this particular one, I was feeling a little frisky. Of course, I've got everything outlined here and there in the back. But if you approach this from this side, you would just see here if it was hanging on the wall. Where, however, if you approached it from this side, I wrote a poem on the side. Of course, I also write, I do poetry. So I'll read this real quick because it goes with the painting. Chaos, a most welcome state of groundlessness, ushers in all possibilities, including hope and fear, those symptomatic patterns of grasping at anything that might save us. With that gnawing in my stomach and all the fears that flit through the vault of my mind, I remember the basic code that unlocks the treasure of creativity and enables me to abandon all hope and fear. Price of entry, your mind. Now that last piece, Price of Entry, your mind, is a quote from Hermann Hesse's book Magister Ludi, The Bead Game, which I muchly loved. Anyhow, so that's that piece. And this here is encaustic. So this here is wax with pigment. And the way encaustics works is every time you put a layer on top, you use a heat gun to make it fuse to the layer below. Otherwise, it could lift or peel. Now, what I did after I did that whole thing, then I start seeing different sort of, well, in this case, breaks, or what I would call like ridges of mountains, and I used a tool to gouge out the wax and show these various lines. Now what I did up here and over here is I gouged it out wider and I inlaid it with copper foil and with silver foil. And there's a whole technique for doing working with foil, which is super thin. Gustav Klimt, of course, worked with gold foil in his paintings. And I really enjoyed that technique, as tedious as it was. The other nice quality, besides the texture, almost three-dimensional with encaustics, is you can polish it. It can actually come up to a nice sheen. You could do it with a soft cloth, and you can actually do it with the heel of the palm of your hand. And I also have, like I said, the sort of sense of first thought, which is the name of my studio, where you're taking that Sumi ink brush and just... I hope I see as many of you as possible at the Crestone Artists Open Studio Tour, first weekend in October, and it will be from 1 to 6 Saturday and Sunday. Thank you very much.